Hi everybody. So I wanted to make a video and I wasn't going to, but then I was watching some things online this weekend and they really hit home and just kind of really spoke to how I want, almost like as a parent, to address some of the behavior stuff that's going on with Max. So I thought I would make the video anyway, and I'm probably going to ask Helene to take a look and just kind of give me some feedback and advice. But I'm making it for everybody because, as long as, Helene says it's okay and she gives the go ahead, I just want everyone to be on the same page and just to have us all doing the same things. So one of the issues that I've definitely been having at home, and it's not huge, I have to say he's doing so well, but Max does protest a lot, and he probably protests a lot with me because I'm pretty much at home the rule enforcer. I'm the let's do nighttime routine and let's clean up and let's do all the things that he's asked to do. So I get a lot of pushback from him, and some days he has really good days and other days he has, particularly tough days. And on the tough days, it can seem so tough because he gets stuck in like these loops where he's perseverating and he's really in this state of, I don't want to, no. And there was a time, and I think this is why this bothers me so much with him, like 30% of it is I'm human and it gets on my nerves a little bit, drives me crazy. But the other part of it, and really this is the bulk of it, is when he's in that state and he's kind of stuck in that loop for a little while. It wasn't just, actually not for a little while, for a very, very, very long time. It was not, I don't want to. He didn't want to, but it really was anxiety. Like he was really super anxious and he was definitely pushed into a fight, flight, freeze mode. And I don't mean he was pushed by other people. I just mean like his whole body and his system was kind of moved into that zone. And now I don't think that's the case anymore. I don't see all of the signs that I used to, that he was super anxious. And those signs, like his voice would go up several octaves, he would like rock a little bit, he would swing his feet. Sometimes he would go like catatonic. He would do these like stares where you'd almost think he was having a seizure. Other times it would seem like he was just being super silly, but it was almost like a manic silliness where he was running away and he was a little bit hyper. And to be honest, I think all of that was, I don't want to do this, but it was really bubbling into anxiety. And I think a lot of the anxiety was happening for a mix of reasons. I really do think a lot of it was what was happening earlier in the day. So everything that happened at school, him not sleeping, just a lot of that all kind of came together in this perfect storm, and it just made him super anxious. And that, as someone who knows what severe anxiety feels like, is not a state I want him to be in. And now I don't think that he's in that state. He's not anxious, but I know with me, and I think sometimes probably on certain days during the school day, I see and hear him just like really upset, almost like he really doesn't want to do something, but it's not a casual, "Oh, I don't feel like doing this." Like he's in that loop where he's like worked up a little bit. And so even though it's not anxiety, I also understand that feeling of like, oh my God, like you're just pushed to your limit and you really just don't want to do something. It's an overwhelming feeling, and it's just an awful feeling. And when I think about him, in those states, of course, as his mom, I want him to be regulated and happy. And I know how awful that feels, and I don't want that for him. So that's why I want to address it. I know that it's not all the time and it's not like crisis mode or anything like that, but I really do want to lessen it at home with me, because when he gets stuck in that I don't feel like doing this loop, it can last for a while. And then also I want to make sure during the school day. So behaviorally, I've just been thinking, like how do I as his mom go about this for this reason? And this is actually why I'm making the video. I think the reason that Max is not super duper anxious the way he used to be anymore is because his day is so good. I think this homeschool opportunity has just been incredible. It's really what he needs. But also, we've all worked so hard, you guys in particular, to help him use his voice. So I don't want to address Maxim's, I don't want to statements in a compliance kind of way. I don't want to create a kid who doesn't say I don't want to and always says yes and is always happy to do what he's told, because that's not realistic and that's not him. I think the reason he's doing so well is because he now knows how to use his voice. He can say I don't want to, and he can say he's angry and talk about his feelings and the way his body feels. So like, that's really good stuff. I'm not trying to get him to be compliant. I want him to be cooperative. So, you know, like I feel resistant, like myself, to use any kind of system or anything that's going to stop him from saying how he feels. I want him to say, I don't want to do this, but then I want him to kind of work through that appropriately. So one thing that I saw online that it just struck me, and I've tried it actually a couple times since, and it has worked wonderfully, is just really like an opt-out method. So like, if I were to ask Max to do something and he didn't want to, that's fine. He can totally opt out of it. He doesn't have to do it. But when he's opting out, that doesn't mean he gets to do whatever he wants. It's not like, for example, if I say, Max, it's time to clean up, it's nighttime routine, you have to clean up, and he says, I don't want to clean up. For me, it would be like, that's fine, you don't have to clean up. But in that, he can absolutely just sit there. He can sit there and take a break and sit on the couch and do whatever he breathing or twiddling his thumbs, whatever, but he's not in that opt-out moment allowed to play with his toys, watch his iPad, leave the room, do fun things. He's really just allowed to opt out. So what the woman was talking about is, in those moments when the child opts out, that's great. They sit and they can take their break and do whatever. And then what my job is to do something super fun. Like, I might be laughing at something on my phone, or like if I was doing school, like if it was a schoolwork thing, I might make some train videos or flip through some things and act like I'm having the best time ever. And really, it's almost like to pique their interest, and then have Max be like, oh, you know, well, I want to do that. And at that point, it would be for me to say, oh, you do? All right, then let's clean up. Now, I'm sure you guys already do this. I'm sure, but the thing for me, I guess, and sometimes also during school, is I think I haven't been allowing him to opt out. Like, for me, it's like, no, like, listen, it's this time of day, and I feel bad. Like, for me, it's like, well, listen, if you want to watch your iPad, you know, or if you want your iPad back, because like, I'll take it away, you've got to clean up. Whereas now, it's more just like, if he's doing reading, you know, if he doesn't want to read, you know what, that's fine. Go sit on the couch, take a break. You can opt out. But then when whoever is over here having the time of their life, watching videos or making videos or doing something super fun, and he's like, oh, well, I want to do that. Oh, you do? Well, then now you have to come and do the reading, and then you get that opportunity. So so the way I did it the other day is, he didn't want to clean up, but he really wanted a bubble bath. And so it was like, absolutely, you get to have the bubble bath when you clean up. And he said, I don't want to clean up. And I was like, great, don't clean up. And that was it. I left him alone. I literally left him alone, and I didn't take away the iPad. I didn't, whatever it was that was, whatever he was doing, he continued to do it. He didn't get anything fun or additional or anything like that. And I want to say between 10 and 15 minutes later, he came back to me and he said, I cleaned up, and then I checked the room, and he had cleaned up, and then he got his bubble bath. So I was just thinking, like, when I say this stuff, you guys are probably thinking, we do that all the time, Erica. You know, some of this is just really new for me. And even though I've probably been told this before, you know, there's so much going on, and sometimes as a parent, you kind of get away from certain things. And if I'm not constantly like having it in the back of my head and practicing, then I forget, you know, I forget sort of how to do this stuff. But I know that I'm going to try that. I'm going to try allowing Max to opt out when he wants to, but making sure when he's opting out, he's not rewarded with anything, and nothing is, he can't be playing or doing super fun things when he's opting out. He's just it's gonna be very neutral. I'm not gonna punish or take anything away, but I'm certainly gonna make it very neutral, and then kind of see if that helps with some of the protesting. Because with me, when he gets into that protesting loop, it's long, like it lasts a long time, and he has a hard time getting out of it. So during his school day, I was thinking if he has a day, and I know like a lot in the afternoons, it's really tough for him. So if he has a point in the afternoon where he's like, I don't want to do language, or I don't want to do listening, well then maybe, and this is where Helene and you guys can tell me, maybe we say, fine, you know what, you don't want to do it, that's fine. You can go relax on the couch. He can't play with his trains, he can't make videos, he doesn't get iPad. But it's like, listen, if you need a break, tell me and take it. Because I want him to do that. I want him to know, like, some days are harder than others. Some days we're tired or we don't feel good. And if he needs more breaks, then he gets more breaks. But then he also has less time to do the fun stuff. So hopefully that will all kind of click in his head. So that might be tricky down here because I know his trains and stuff are out. So if he says, I don't want to, we can say, okay, that's fine, but kind of keeping him away from playing is tricky. So I don't know how that would work. That's where you guys can let me know. But maybe we should just say, you know, rather than listening to him say, I don't want to for 10 minutes, as he's completing the work, because that is what I think he tends to do. He says, I don't want to, and then he just goes through and does it. At least that's what he does with me too. Maybe at his first couple I don't want to's, we're like, fine, take a break. So anyway, let me know what you think. The reason I think I'm kind of trying to approach it this way is, like I said before, I don't want him to mask. I don't want him to stuff down his feelings. I don't want him to become a robot and super compliant. I want him to voice how he feels. If he's having a tough day and he needs a bunch of breaks, I think he should get a couple extra. I just want him to be a little bit more cooperative, even in the face of not really wanting to do something. So that's it. That's what I was thinking. Let me know what you guys think.